Hi everybody, and welcome to our show. This is From This Corner TV, and I'm your host, Marilyn Dayton. And I'm so glad you were able to join us today because we're going to be talking about a very important organization that the part I'm interested in is learning about play for adults. So I'm really interested in that. So who we have with us, we have Kathleen O'Byrne back, and I'm very, very happy that you're back with us.
Thank you.
And Kathleen, if you remember from before, is from Lifescape Enterprises, and she's a writer and consultant on education and military families, and she writes books, very interesting books. And then we have Cara Westcott, who's Vice President of Behavioral Health Sciences at UCFS, and she is the chair of the organization we're going to be talking about, which is the Community Coalition for Children. So we're going to talk for a few minutes, and then we're going to introduce a video. Now this video you may or may not have seen, and it's okay if you see it again because you always see things, you know, when you see something again. And that will go more in depth of the organization. Who would like to introduce the organization as far as description and when it started?
I think that's your role.
Sure. Well, the Community Coalition for Children is a coalition of educators, parents, and community members, and we have been in existence since about 1996 and started out as some mothers coming together and saying, you know, what can we do to help our kids and to promote positive children and raising them. And so we started coming together as the coalition to put presentations together every October. We pick a topic that is relevant to kids and families and bring that speaker to the Guard. And then on Tuesday, we bring 200 to 300 students from middle school, high school, from the area schools, and the speaker speaks to them on their level. And then we have some small group facilitation. So we've brought many great authors on various topics through the years, and we're very excited to present this presentation today.
That's wonderful. Now, how long have you been with the organization yourself?
Well, I've been with the CCC on and off since about 1998. I found the CCC in 1998 and began as part of the coalition, and then through some job changes and things, kind of left for a few years and came back when I started my role as the VP at United Community Family Services, and have now stepped up to be the chair this year. So.
And we're not going to let her go.
Yeah.
Now, Kathleen, you're such an involved person in your community. When did you discover this organization and get involved yourself?
Well, I'm involved, and I hope I have evolved. I'm not quite sure. I first discovered the Community Coalition probably in about 1998. So
about
similar
the same
time frames. I was director of the Navy Family Service Center at the time, and the kinds of speakers that were coming in were world-renowned. And to have sent members of my staff, particularly my social workers, like Cara has a staff full of, to have sent them off for training with exactly these same people would have run me more than $1,000 a person.
Wow.
And today that would be closer to $2,000 with travel and accommodations. And here they were in our own backyard. And so I went and said to the commanding officer of the base that I was really intensely interested in having the Navy be a part of the Community Coalition for Children, because I felt that the more we were able to reach out into the community and normalize what we were seeing in our military population against what was being seen in our civilian population, and be able to go back after meeting monthly with various groups to say, you know, we thought that such and such seemed way out of hand, but it's in the culture right now. There's just a lot of financial stress, and so people are waiting till later to come in and deal with certain kinds of issues. So it was, for me, an opportunity to network with my peers and to have a sense of we're all part of the civilian community that we're inhabiting. And he looked at me and he said, "So you haven't read the memo?" The memo that says we're pulling back to our core operations and we're not going out and making any more connections. I said, "No, I didn't believe that memo." I read it, I didn't believe it. And he said, "Well, you're welcome to go on your own time, but I can't let you officially represent us." Well, within an unfortunately short period of time, I had to leave the Family Service Center due to cancer. And a month after leaving the center, I went and joined on my own steam and said I was the rep for military families because I was serving on a national board, the Military Child Education Coalition. And so again, here you've got coalitions and knowing the power that regional and national coalitions of, in our case, school districts, independent schools, universities and colleges, hospitals, social service agencies, and military families.
Yes.
It's just powerful. And today we actually have a very strong commitment from the commanding officer at the base, and his wife serves on our board and is a pistol.
Yeah,
I don't know
wonderful.
what we do. She has
That's
all
right.
sorts of
That's
ideas
right, yes.
about how to further connect. And we also have strong representation from the Mohegan tribe.
Well, that's wonderful.
So it's quite the
Yeah.
regional consortium.
It is, absolutely.
So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go and learn a little bit more about this coalition. And then what we'll do is we'll come back at the end of it and talk more with you. And so we're ready to go to the video called Unplugged, Play for Success.
The Community Coalition for Children is delighted to again this year be bringing you an exciting program this fall. We're going to be looking at play, and the name of our program is Unplugged Matters, Giving Kids the Childhood They Need. And our guest speaker will be Darell Hammond, who is the founder and CEO of KaBOOM, a group that nationally has built more than 2,000 playgrounds around this country. We're going to be a part of that exciting endeavor. And the first program will be on Monday evening, October 20th at 7 p.m. at the Guard Arts Center. And that is really focused at adults, educators, parents, community leaders, and sometimes we get some of the students from our local colleges as well. And then on Tuesday, we bring in hundreds of students from middle schools and high schools in the region, and they come to play in this case with the speaker in a different way. This year in particular, they will hear from Darell and then will be sent out into their own small work groups to help begin the design process for our regional playground. And that is at Connecticut College. It's called Get Up, Get Out, and Get Moving. That's Tuesday, October 21st at 9:30 at Connecticut College, and it is open to the public as well. Both these programs are free and open to the public. So, who is the Community Coalition for Children? We are a group of your neighbors and your local schools and your colleges and universities, your social service agencies, and your local hospitals. We are people who care about the children in this region, and we are called the Community Coalition for Children, helping children thrive. We have been in business, so to speak, since 1996. And just as we have a nice round kitchen-like table here, that's the way this group began. A group of mothers up in Norwich were whining, no other word for it, about, gee, wouldn't it be great if they had a neighbor like Adele Faber, who had just written a book called How to Talk So Your Kids Will Listen, and How to Listen So Your Kids Will Talk.
That's a good book.
It was a good book. And, you know, they kind of said, well, why couldn't we actually have Adele come and talk to us? And she was our first of many, many renowned speakers, and has been back since, actually, to keep in touch with what we're doing. So for 18 years now, we have been looking at issues that we think are important in our region, both to teachers who tell us what they think they need, certainly to our local hospitals, social service agencies, and to our community leaders as well. So we are delighted that this is part of a 2-year plan. This past year we worked with Dr. Katz, whose Feet and Forks was busy getting us eating well and getting out and getting some exercise. He is a childhood nutrition expert, and so this fall, following with play, just seemed like a very nice package to wrap together. And so who are we at this table? You all have some wonderful guests to give some insights to us today. Angelo Callis is a family therapist with Norwich Youth Services.
Youth and Family Services, yes.
And does everything.
We try. We try. We will fill every need necessary. I've even cleaned some bathrooms.
Well, we're not going to ask that today. And Cara Westcott, who is our current chairperson for Community Coalition, she deserves great kudos for fearlessly leading us. Cara is the vice president at United Child and Family Children
United Community
and Family Services.
Yes.
All these acronyms that are tough. And she is a social worker, so she does hands-on and organizational work and is our fearless leader. And Jen Croach is also with United Community and Family Services.
Yes.
And Jen, tell us what your position actually is. It's fascinating.
Sure. I work for EMPS. It stands for Emergency Mobile Psychiatric Services. And what we do is we provide crisis intervention for children and adolescents in the community who are having some sort of psychological problem. Maybe they're feeling like hurting themselves, or they're feeling really down and depressed. And we come out and assess the child and then connect them with other agencies in the community that could help them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty heavy-duty job, it
Pretty
sounds
heavy.
like to me. Well, I'm glad you get to play with us now and then. Okay, so let's get a move on here. Let's talk about why we are so excited, Cara, about having Darell Hammond come.
Well, thank you, Kathleen. We are very excited, and as Kathleen mentioned, Darell has written this book called KaBOOM, A Movement to Save Play. And I, as you can see, you know, my copy's pretty dog-eared because I spent a whole weekend and my family said, can't you put that book down? I really couldn't, because Darell's story started in 1995 when he was just 24. and he heard a story of two children who had nowhere to play, and they climbed into an abandoned car and they suffocated. And it was at that point that he made it his life's mission to really provide as many opportunities for kids to play and have a safe place to play. So I'm very excited to have Darell come. We also have the benefit of a book called My Dream Playground that we have many copies of that we'll be gifting to our area schools and our libraries. And this tells the story of Ashley, who Darell met, and she designed her dream playground. And again, this was the really the impetus for KaBOOM and for the opportunity to invite communities to come together with their children to really say, what would you have in your dream playground? So we're excited about the opportunity. We're excited to have our children come the next day on our Tuesday event to have them begin designing their dream playground. And we're also excited about the opportunity for communities to really look at how they can come together and build opportunities for kids to play safely.
Well, now it's interesting that there have actually been a number of playgrounds built in this region within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I think perhaps the earliest of the recent group was the wonderful handicapped accessible playground at Pequannock Plains in Groton.
Yes.
And that was a huge undertaking, partially because of the special needs issues for it. And it was meant to be a destination playground in many ways. It was not a small neighborhood kind of playground. And then more recently, as a result of the Newtown incident, there have been two more built. One at Riverside Park in New London, which is more of a community playground. And then the other is most recently in Mystic.
That's right.
At the YMCA. Yep.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at a region perhaps that has not already been serviced in that particular way. And I think New London is looking at another possibility in their community as well. So it's really quite fascinating. But now, Angelo, how would the work that we do with KaBOOM be different from these other playgrounds?
Here it is in a nutshell. We're looking at two words, alchemy and magic, when we're talking about KaBOOM here. And where the magic comes from is, I mean, we've talked about this over and over again, and people, particularly my generation, there's no great secret to play. When we were kids, we all received such very detailed instructions. Go out and play. That's all we needed. So play is wonderful, and we're going to talk more about the importance of play, and many times the importance of unstructured play. This is about far more than play. This is about community. It's easy, if we just took a playground and we put it down in an empty lot, it would be a playground in an empty lot. But what KaBOOM does is it creates a framework where a child's dreams can become manifest, where we sit down with groups of children and find out exactly what they're looking for, exactly what they want, what their dream playground is, how they play, what they want to do to play. It's also engaging their parents and their need to have their children be safe and be secure, and investing them in their community. It's also bringing in civic leaders, people like the mayor, people like city councils, people like superintendents of schools, saying we have a duty to our community to provide spaces for children to experiment and to learn where they can be safe. We also hope through the process that we will engage business leaders, where then business leaders, civic leaders, foundation leaders, where they continue to become involved in the well-being of their community and these children, where they all gather, where they meet, where these children see these important people doing something beautiful for their benefit, where they can feel important and valued. That's what it's about. It's about an entire community coming together, and KaBOOM, you come together. This is what we're doing.
Parents will go, no doubt, with their children the first few times for sure,
Right.
and meet each other.
And meet each other.
Where else do they meet each other? They don't necessarily go knock on doors in the neighborhood.
And in the planning process. As these groups of families are coming together, they need to be raising money for this. They need to, we're talking in various communities having a whole leadership initiative so parents can come together for this project, for this process.
And own it.
And own it.
Yeah.
But then be educated for future civic life.
Aha. So there's a whole lot to
this. This is more than a playground.
Absolutely.
This is what we do. Our life's blood is in building a community, rebuilding it. This area has been through several hard times, but what we have is each other, and this helps us find each other. This is why we are so excited about this. It's not a playground. It's
So much more.
everything for us.
Absolutely.
Well, all of this emphasis on play, and Angelo and I were laughing earlier that, you know, it was no big deal. We used to be able to go out and play, and our instructions were be safe, answer the whistle. In my case, it was 5 long blasts, and I better be yelling and getting myself home. But for that part of the bargain, I could roam the woods in the little ravine park
The woods
near
are the
my
best.
house. Oh my goodness, crayfish and tadpoles and all that stuff. So
tremendous.
Jen, why is it important to be able to play?
Play is important to every aspect of a child's life. It helps their mental health, their physical health, their social health. It allows children to build their confidence and other social skills that could be important later on in their lives, as well as other key skills for success, such as critical thinking and problem-solving skills. It allows children to interact with their environments and express their emotions and try on different personas and really make sense of what's going on in the world around them, as well as feel connected with their community, playing with other children who live in the neighborhood and other children they come into contact with. But as well, it engages, it refreshes our children and energizes them to stimulate creativity. Play has shown that it enhances academic performance. And as well, play helps at every stage of life. I mean, play is not just for little children, it's for children of all ages.
Right.
It's a great way to relieve stress, and the benefits are truly amazing.
You know, Jen, I will tell you, I gave a 3-hour institute on play at a conference recently, and we were making so much noise and having so much fun that somebody came down the hall and closed the door. And then, not very much longer thereafter, somebody else came back and opened it.
I wanted to know how much fun you were having.
They said we couldn't stop the curiosity anymore, so we had to come back. And there must have been people sitting outside the door giggling through the whole process. Yes, endless. We need play in our workplaces. We need play in our families. Because life has become so serious. And frankly, I'm wearing this wonderful necklace today. Nobody asked me about it. I'm surprised at you guys. I bought it at a beach down in Sanibel, Florida, and it's designed from recycled tires.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And the idea is that I'm supposed to wear it with my bathing suit when I swim. Now, I haven't done a whole lot of that. I have worn it a lot with a full blouse on. And when I came back to work in my workplace, everybody took one look at the necklace. It used to have 3 strands to it. So I really felt like Cleopatra. And they said, whoops, she's back and we're going to play. And I said, good, they know that. And one of my social workers said, my 8-year-old would think she had died and gone to heaven if she had a necklace like that. So that night I thought, you know what? I can be in the died and gone to heaven business. And I snipped off the longest of the strands here, put some Velcro on the back,
Bravo.
and she was one happy little camper the next day.
Bravo.
But my office knew that we were going to play when I came back from the beach. I'd had 2 weeks to play and think, what a luxury.
Absolutely.
And the difference in their work, and here now, 20 years later, some of the shells, for example, that I brought back and we attached meaning to,
Yeah.
are still sitting on their shelves.
Sure.
So it made an impact, for sure.
Absolutely.
Anybody else want to add why we should play?
I think it's obvious. I think everything you said, I think it helps us find creativity within. I think when we play and we free ourselves of the fetters of the ordinary and the mundane and the scheduled, it opens up portions of our mind where there's possibilities and refreshment and newness. And I think we need some of that. I think as a society, we're weighted down by problems. 24/7 news cycles have given us nothing but problems and fear and cloisterism. And I think it's time to break those walls down. And I think when we play with each other, we learn each other's true spirit and each other's true heart. And it's a good thing for us all. Not to mention a good belly laugh is just good for anything.
Absolutely.
Well, and Dr. Katz made the point, as Jen, you just did, that in our schools where we're watching recess go away,
Right.
we're still having some physical education, but that's very structured.
Less and less.
It's not the fun just go out and play for 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
That if even beside their desk every half hour or so, the kids could stand up and do something funny and different for 3 minutes,
Yes.
that then they are far more able to be focused when they come back
Right.
to what they're doing. And, you know, if there were ways before all of our mastery tests and whatever to get a little half hour of
Absolutely.
aerobics in or something, it would make such a difference. The endorphins are flowing.
Yeah.
Right.
The focus is more possible. We can't sit still for a
Right.
half hour without beginning to fidget.
And we
Absolutely.
expect that of children,
Yeah.
and that's what's, you know, we really need to take a look at that, because I think, you know, there's a lot of scientific research that tells us that that burst of energy, that being able to do physical activity and refocus, you know, helps us
Right.
and helps the child to be able to then pay attention, you know, and you know, we're really, you know, we need to get back to the basics, you know, put down the tablets, put down the iPhones, you know, unplug, and really, you know, just do some free and creative play.
I love the idea of play in the classroom, and
Yeah.
what we're seeing, particularly I do some groups in the middle schools, and it's rather frightening what we're seeing. We're seeing teachers who are feeling overwhelmed with
Yeah.
all of the mandates, with all of the testing
Right.
requirements,
Yeah.
with everything they have to deal with, and the kids are feeling stressed.
Yeah.
And there's more of a gulf between the teachers and the learners, more than ever. And I think if teachers just were able to do that and to relax without fear of being judged,
Right.
and that kids had a moment with the teachers to play and to jump up and down,
Yeah.
we could start rebuilding trust again. We have to find what's important, and
Well-
finding each other is important.
Our programming gives us an opportunity to talk about it. You know, one of the intriguing things that I've been reading lately is that when kids go off to these fancy schools for engineering, schools have discovered that because they have not been the kids who took apart the clock and maybe put it back together or not, they really have very little hands-on
Yeah.
knowledge of the concepts that they're now going to attempt to make a living
Right.
at.
Yeah.
They
And
could do a virtual clock.
well, they probably could. At any rate, we have some exciting times coming ahead.
Absolutely.
We want you all who are listening today to make it a point of going to our website, which you will see again at the end of the program. Basically, it's www.communitycoalitionforchildren.org, all rolled together.
And like us on Facebook.
Indeed.
Please like us on Facebook.
Indeed.
A lot of good
Absolutely.
information coming
And
down.
follow us on
Follow us
Twitter.
on Twitter.
I haven't gotten there yet.
But you see, there's something for everybody.
That's right.
And a reminder that we are having Darell Hammond come to us at the Guard Theater on Monday, October 20th at 7 o'clock. Childcare is free and available, but we do ask you to register for that. And again, that would be, you'd find out the phone number for that on the website.
It really is a lovely event. I mean, it's,
Oh,
it's
it's
a
a beautiful
gathering, there are
spot.
vendors, it's, the whole community comes together. It's a beautiful theater. Go out and get I'm going to say this, go out and get a pizza or something before you come and enjoy a nice evening with your entire family and come and hear
Absolutely.
something wonderful. So.
And we would love to have everyone involved in the project. If you're interested in volunteering, it really is a for the people, by the people project. So contact us, and the more the merrier.
The more the merrier, absolutely.
And again, on Tuesday, a fun time.
The fun part.
When not only the students who are sent by their schools because of their particular interests in design perhaps, or in working with people, with children in particular, we're trying to find a group of kids this year for whom this message will be really important. We'll be at Connecticut College at 9:30 at the Crozier-Williams Student Center. And it's again free and open to the public, and there will be the opportunity to either be a part of one of the workshops with students, or there will be a workshop totally focused on adults, and that would have a different flavor to it. But that runs from 9:30 till 12:30.
Absolutely.
And there are signs as soon as you come on the campus. So please think about us, bring your neighbors, and as Angelo says, go get something good to eat ahead of time or after the Tuesday program, and
Have some fun with your family.
get ready
Absolutely.
get ready
Join
to
us
play.
or your family too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
We're going to have a good time very shortly.
Great.
Always a lot of fun,
Take care.
absolutely.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Up, college is hard. Down, those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education.
Right up here.
So every year I take promising high schoolers on a tour
Lights there, darts there.
to show them that higher education means a brighter future. My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
You can be a reader, tutor, or mentor too. Take the pledge at liveunited.org/volunteer.
Do you wear this?
Hi and welcome back. This is From This Corner TV, and I'm Marilyn Dayton, your host. And obviously today we're talking about this coalition that encourages you to think about helping your child play and adults play. You know, Angela was saying, you know, how serious our world is today, and kind of scary for kids, because what they're hearing in the news is they're hearing about, you know, our planet is in trouble, you know, things not to eat, they would like to eat, you know, McDonald's is bad for you or Burger King is bad for you, you know, all these things that they're hearing, and they're wondering, what can I do? And the thing that we also talked about was safe play, and the concern about, even if you live in what's considered a safe neighborhood, you still worry about your kids and say, well, you have to have a buddy system, even in our own neighborhood. and I'd also like to get in before we get back to this, is, you know what, talking about the education system and putting in a little bit of play, which I think is a wonderful, fantastic idea. What about in the business world? You know, we have so much stress, and we should take time to play. We should be able to say, okay, break time, get up and do silly faces and silly things, and I'd like that. You know, I can do that really well. So play is for adults as well as children.
Absolutely.
And so your coalition, don't you also stress that?
We do, and some of the array of books that we've got sitting out here in front of us talk about the fact that children particularly need the opportunity to have totally unstructured play, that at some point they kind of snap out of it and kind of look around and, oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, they've been so engaged in this fantasy or imaginative world that they have been somewhere else entirely. More typically, as we get a little older, we're not quite as willing to lose that much playfulness. We're willing to be playful, but we're not willing to be abandoned in our unstructured ramblings, except perhaps in dreams, or perhaps in movies, or if we're engaged in drama one way or another, perhaps.
Right.
Role play is a fun thing to do, though it intimidates some. But we do need to keep it because, frankly, it's the way that really creative ideas break through. So
you have to release your mind from that focus, that strict focus that actually keeps your mind from working effectively.
Blindfolds you,
It
really.
does.
Yeah.
And you have to have that release, and then you go, oh yeah. Instead of waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning like I do with, oh, there's a great slogan. Oh, there's a great design.
And you write it down, I hope.
Of course I do. I go in the bathroom and write it down.
Oh, I don't get out of bed. I just write it on the pad.
I used to be able to take I used to have a pen and pad right next to the bed, and I could do it in the dark. I can't do that anymore. I don't know why. But so, Cara, you said that there was something that you wanted to also add to what we're talking
Well,
about.
and you mentioned, Marilyn, about the workplace and businesses and how to infuse play in that. And one of the things that Darell talks about in his book and that we know is that play is really the work of children. That's what children should be allowed to do, is to play. And so really helping the children get back to that. And we talk about particularly our kids nowadays are so plugged in, and they're plugged into these devices, and how is it that they can put those down, and parents can have those conversations about let's put that down and let's go outside, or let's play a game, or have some real connection time, because that's really what we're missing. And what we're proposing, we're actually going to invite you all to come at 6:30 on the night of our event on October 20th, and come play with us. We're going to have beach balls and hula hoops and jump ropes and things to draw with and bubbles, and really help us as adults to get back to our own childhood and playing. So we hope that maybe we'll be able to entice some community leaders to come in and maybe have a hula hoop off or something like that.
That'd be good.
So if anybody has any ideas, we've got lots of fun things to play with, and we hope that you'll join us a little bit before the presentation at 7.
The guard will never be the same.
The guard will never be the same. It will be very classy, but it will be very playful. I will guarantee that. And then the other thing...
Poor Darrell's going to have a time ringing everybody in.
He's very excited about that, actually. They said that he would love to be part of our playground. So we're going to be creating a community coalition for children playground at the Guard that night.
Wonderful.
It's wonderful that you have a 12-year-old who can help you keep this in mind.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. And the other thing that we're doing, speaking of getting ready for the event, is we're also sending out a challenge to everyone to make their own play video and post it on Facebook with us. We've got one up there, and you'll see some of our members. You'll see Jen Croach, who you just saw in the video, playing at Conn College, and we hope that we can create some momentum and get people to take a look at that and like it and put their own spin on it.
Far less dangerous than ice buckets, right?
That's right. Yeah. Far less dangerous than ice buckets, yes.
And there's no age restriction, I take it.
Absolutely not. No age restriction at all. And we can all, we can all use a little bit of play to relieve stress. And, dance party Thursday, sometimes happens in our office, just, turn on a song and do a little dance, just to break it up and to get refocused. And again, that's what we know from the research, is that if kids and adults can just have a little bit of time to let loose, you're going to come back and be able to be more productive and be more creative. So.
Absolutely, and it's so easy to forget.
It is.
To play, to relax, to unplug, to unwind, because we do, we take our work seriously. We are supposed to be serious adults. Now, my granddaughter's 13 and a half, and the little guy is 11 and a half, and they remind me what it's like to play. And even at 13, my granddaughter will watch the little guy, who's got a great imagination. We'll be at the dinner table, and he'll be, all of a sudden he'll be in his own world, and she'll go, "Oh, there he goes again." I said, "He sure does. Reminds me of me." Because I did that when I was a kid. I was in my own world. And
something you just mentioned there is the mixed age issue. Some of the research is saying that the more often that kids of a variety of ages can play together, there are things that 2 4-year-olds can't really pull off a game of throw and catch, because the aim is just not good enough to get it where it needs to go. But if there's by chance a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old at the other end of that 4-year-old, then you can have a fairly fruitful game between the two of them, so that it gives the older kids a chance to be understanding and appropriate for the skill level of the youngsters they're playing with. So they're learning skills for empathy and body language and all sorts of good things. And the little ones, the old rule of thumb when we used to play tennis was you always want to play with somebody better than you are.
Right.
Well, at some point, who do the really good people get to play with then, And so, again, the mixed ages have value. So settings like scout troops where they have a range of ages, or church groups, or preschool and after-school programs that are in the same location at the end of the day, where that can intermix has value.
Exactly. The community center where the kids go after school, and then the parents come and pick them up after work. Like in Stonington, we have the KaBOOM. And both of my grandkids went to the KaBOOM after school. And they would just be so happy when we go and pick them up. And I say, I talk to my grandkids a lot and my family a lot, because in our household, we have the mixed age. We have all 3 generations. I was very fortunate and blessed to move in with my daughter and son-in-law and grandkids. And I was over there all the time anyway, And
why don't you live here, Grandma?
Yeah, exactly. They kept saying that, and I said, well, okay. And so I do. And it's wonderful. It's kind of like the Waltons at night. There's not enough of us. But see, my granddaughter says, my Grammy is really a 12-year-old in disguise. Now, I was not until I had grandkids.
Right.
Because my kids went off to college, and I owned a business. I was a single mother. And I'll tell you, I was a serious lady. I was a serious kid, too. It's too bad. So I'm making up for it now because my grandkids are helping me. So see, this is very important. I turned 70 years old this year, and that is because, and I guarantee it's because I know how to play.
That's right.
My grandkids taught me.
That's right. Keeps you young at heart.
It does. Now tell me that the coalition, it does more than encourage play, correct?
Yes. Every year, actually, we take on a new topic that somehow is morphed out of the year before. And next year, we're looking at a presenter who will work with hurried parents and help them understand maybe about 10 basic things that they can do to just have a more fruitful family life and have a lot of fun doing it. So the play piece kind of moves into that, but it deals more specifically with the pace of living that so many families are encountering and how you can really deal with that. I'd like to get back for a minute about this cute little book that we're giving to local libraries and school libraries. This is a book actually written by Darell Hammond's wife, but about an experience that he had himself when we talked about that incident in Washington where the kids suffocated in a car. He was actually there with a group a lot like AmeriCorps today. And in fact, it was the group that Michelle Obama was with originally, and she and Hillary Clinton and Laura Bush have all been part of building playgrounds with Darell Hammond. And actually, he's up to something like 16,000 playgrounds at this point, which is just overwhelming. And huge companies like Home Depot and Ben & Jerry's have taken on being major supporters for construction of these sites. But he was there because he was to be going out and organizing the build of a playground. And so that's why that story was very poignant. And when he got out to a public housing area, there was a little girl who kept kind of peering at him, and then she kind of came outside, and then she came up to him and said, "I know you're here to build my playground, my dream playground." And I guess he was just astonished, and he said, "Well, yeah, that was actually why he was there." And she said, I knew it. Let me run inside and get my plans, because I've drawn them all out."
Oh my goodness. That's
And
amazing.
so that's what the story's about. And she then, she then is very much a part of the whole story about building the community to be then the supporters, because as Cara has said, you can't just plunk down a playground. You have to ensure that it's going to be maintained, the practicality of having insurance, and just making the whole group of families in the area feel comfortable about that being a safe place. Because we've talked about safety, both physical and I would say emotional safety is just terribly important, so that the playground becomes a place for the families to gather after school or over the summer. And it's just a place where you go. And the moms and dads end up just sort of talking with each other. The kids are off doing their thing. They're all sort of in the same place, but the kids are doing their own unstructured play. And the parents are having a chance to get to know each other a whole lot better. So we just think that it's obviously for younger children to read, but it's just a wonderful story of how and why projects like this get started.
And you know, that's a wonderful book for parents to read to their kids.
Absolutely.
Before they learn how to read, because the message is so important. That
well, it's empowering that the child had already created. She knew what she wanted in her playground and why. And so that's a very strong message to children, that we honor their insights and their desires.
And ask them, for instance, ask them what color they want their room painted. Ask them how they want their furniture. Yes, of course, either purple or yellow, or red for the guys. And ask them, you know, what colors do you want to wear today? You know, I mean, just ask them,
Right.
because they've got opinions.
Yeah.
And they'll be happy to answer your question
Sure.
if you ask them, which is the wonderful thing.
It is.
I bet you, no matter who the child is, if you ask them, if you had a dream playground, what would you like to have in it? Well, I'm sure they know.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they know.
Yeah, and in our world now, where we've had to take a lot of choices away from kids in terms of safety and going out and playing and things like that. Even the opportunity to say what color shirt do you want to wear today, or what do you want to play today? That gives them that beginning independence that they need and helps them grow. So it's so important.
And it shows them that you value who they are.
Exactly.
And that you recognize they are a person.
Yes.
Because so many kids, well, I've heard, so many kids, because I'm around my grandkids all the time, I've heard little kids say, you asked me my opinion, and nobody ever did that before, I mean, it's really kind of sad. But, and I'm not talking about all kids and all parents, but, you hear it every once in a while.
Sure.
And we forget. That's the thing, we get so busy.
That's the thing.
Survival right now. Both parents have to work.
Right.
It's, and you just don't have that time. And you don't stop and smell the roses.
Right.
In other words, stop and pay attention to your kids.
Right. And as Kathleen mentioned, our 2015 speaker will really focus on how we've really structured our lives and our kids to be, so busy and so structured and activities all the time. And how do we take a step back from that? And how do we really, devote some time to dinner together, or devote some time to having a conversation, even if it's at the end of the day, because, that's what we need. That we're human beings. We need that human connection, that relationship, and you can't get that through an email, through a text, through even a phone call. It's a little better with a phone call, but really it's about the face-to-face.
Definitely. And it's okay to, when the kids come home from school and you say, how was school? And they say, it was okay. What I like to do is I like to say, okay, what was your favorite part of the whole day today? And then you hear this, oh, well. Or like last night, I asked the little guy, I said, because he's doing cross country, he got into the jazz band, which was amazing and wonderful, and he's in 6th grade. And it's the middle school jazz band. He did good. And he's also taking drum lessons, and he's also taking karate classes.
Wow.
He's a busy fellow.
Boy.
So.
And so I said, hey, how are you feeling about all these activities you've got? Is it too much, or is it just right? Kind of like asking the doing the Goldilocks thing. And he says, I'm so glad you asked. And I went, he says, I really like everything I do. It's all important to me. And I can do it, and I can still do my homework too. I said, that's fantastic.
That's great. That's great.
But it was so funny. I mean, he had this little, he's a little guy. I call him a little guy. And, for him to turn around and say, I'm so glad you asked. Like, so funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
That's what kids want.
And we need to enjoy our families, and we need to enjoy our kids, and we need to enjoy ourselves.
Yes.
Giving ourselves permission to play is a very good thing.
Absolutely.
I try to do it as often as I can. So please, get out your pens and paper if you haven't written this down, okay? It's at the Guard, and it's on October 20th.
Monday.
And show up at 6:30. Do a little playing.
It'll be fun.
And I'll be reminding you again in a second, because it's that point in the show where I give the opportunity to organizations who are doing good work and have events coming up. And I give our viewers a chance to write down the phone numbers and the websites and that kind of thing. So I'm just going to take a moment, and then I'm going to come right back, okay, to you good ladies. So here we go. I'm going to read the announcements. First of all, first on the list, the Community Coalition for Children, okay? So October 20th at the Guard Arts Center, and then there's the workshop the following day on the 21st, okay? And so go to their website. There it is right there. You have no excuse not to go because you got it right there. Okay, then we have October 20th or 24th to 26th, the Well Spouse Association will hold their 26th annual national conference at the Quality Inn in Mystic. And although the conference is limited to WSA members, on Saturday from 10:30 to 12:30, there will be a professional Q&A panel. And that's hosted by Gary Edward Barg, editor-in-chief of today's Caregiver magazine and caregiver.com. We talked a little bit about that on our last show, and so I'm just reminding you that it's available if you want to go do it. On Sunday, here's another one I talked about last time. November 2nd will be this one I didn't talk about last time, so pay attention. The Well-Heeled Woman. Brought to you by L&M Hospital. Guest speaker is Suze Orman. She's very dynamic and she's very empowering. She talks about money. Very good. November 2nd. And that sells out really quickly.
Yes, it does.
Okay, I've already sent in my $75. I want to be there. Great meal, a great event. You can email M. Paulino at lmhospital.org. So write that down, okay? Here's one I've talked about before. The Dinner in the Dark on November 15th. That's an evening to benefit Sophia Sees Hope, and that they're looking for a cure for blindness. And here's a new one for you, okay? The Friends of Kalambe. I'm very involved in this organization. We're having a fundraising evening on Saturday, November 8th in the evening. Fun and games with Setback, or called Pitch Card Tournament. Silent auction with some really good stuff. I'm putting together a couple of great baskets this year. And free food and drink. These are raising funds to provide clean water for the children and families in Kalambe, okay? And that is in Nicaragua, the Kalambe region and beyond in Nicaragua. Very, very great organization. There is their new Facebook page that we just got up. I'm going to try to get a smaller version of that URL for you in the future, okay? But in the meantime, write down all those numbers, okay?
Wow.
There you go. I'm giving you a few minutes to do that because we got everything up on there, okay? So all the information is on there. Pictures of the kids, it's great, okay? So now remember too, if there's any organization that you're a part of or know of that you would think would be a great guest on our show, that we should share the information, please send me an email. It's right at the bottom there. And we also encourage you to go to our website, and there are links there to all of our shows. This is number 17, so we're doing really well. We hope you want to do that. Now, what I'd like to do is thank you so much. Thank you for coming back.
Indeed.
Yeah, going to have to come up with a reason to bring you back again.
Yeah,
okay?
there we go. We'll work on it.
How about life is like a garden or something
There
like
we
that?
go.
So anyway, thank you, Kathleen,
You're welcome.
and thank you for this idea to sharing the fact that we should have you guys on the show.
Well, thank you.
And so nice to meet you. So nice to meet you, Cara.
Thank
you. It's just a wonderful organization. You're very organized. You're very well represented from the community and education. And if anybody would like to know more about how they can join, be active, that kind of thing, go right to your website.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have a lot on our website to take a look at. We are always looking for new members, and so we would love to share information with you and bring you on board. And we are always looking for new faces at the table.
And new
And
ideas.
There's the website.
And there it is. And new extra energy. We can always use more energy in
Absolutely.
these wonderful organizations. And this is a wonderful one. So thank you again very much.
Marilyn.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to seeing you on our next show. And we're going to actually have Holly Potter on our next show. She's a friend, and she's going to be talking about a different kind of massage, a medical massage. And she's going to, well, she does so much. She does really so much. And so we're going to learn a little bit more about the specific different kinds of massages that there are out there. I myself am going to get a lymphatic drainage massage tomorrow. Doesn't that sound exciting and just wonderful? But I need it badly, okay? I need it badly. So thank you all for joining us today. And remember, you can go to our website and then link right to YouTube and watch our shows as many times as you like. So we will see you next time. Thanks for joining us.